Hey, welcome to Leaving CrazyTown with Finn and
Sarah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show.
what are we going to talk about today, Sarah?
All right. Today, we're going to talk about what we call we are not prisoners. And basically, we aren't prisoners. In codependent behavior, we often feel like there's a lot of have tos. And we often don't feel like we have choices. So today we're going to give some examples and discuss the fact that as human beings, we do have choices. And really, what makes us make choices that don't work for us is our underlying fear and what our minds tell us, which is someone's feelings are going to be hurt, or they're going to be mad at me, or we end up making the choice that's best for the other person rather than us, which is definitely, which is like the definition of codependent behavior.
And then we get resentful towards
And
them.
then we get resentful. Exactly. So that's the cycle of codependency, right? We have a fear. We, tell ourselves a lie. They're going to be mad at me. So we do the behavior and then it doesn't work out. Kind of right out of the big book, also fear, self delusion, self seeking, self pity. So today we're going to open up the idea. I know some of you don't believe us, but just try this on that
You have choices.
have a choice.
You have a choice.
You have a choice, but it means you need to tolerate, which we always go back to, what's happening for you. And Finn, we were just discussing that new behaviors don't necessarily feel comfortable.
No, they don't. I call it the red zone when I do a new behavior and I'm sitting in that uncomfortable.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to maybe not feel like it's the right behavior, but eventually the more you do it, it'll feel comfortable. And so the idea is to tolerate the discomfort that first time so it can become more of a regular behavior. You want to give an example?
Sure. Just last week, actually, it's been going on for a few months. I had decided that I was going to decided. I I wouldn't have said I decided because I didn't want anyone to think I made a decision. Fear, I came up with the idea that I would like to rent my room to someone who needs a place to live, but also it would be helpful to me. And but yet, as most people who maybe not everybody who watches this, but my stepdaughter usually lives with me in the summer, and she's getting married, so not this summer, but she has her own room here, and I felt like, oh, I can't ask this person if they want to rent a room unless I talk to her and get permission. So my house don't really need permission from other people, but I noticed I was having a lot of fear around it.
Yes.
And I kept putting it off and saying, well, I'm trying to make sure it's the right decision. And it was really, truly inspired by my higher power because it came to me as an intuitive thought. I'd been praying about it. Nothing felt bad about it except telling my stepdaughter. Now, she's never indicated any control over my house or what I'm doing or anything. I created all this in my head. And I finally got to a place where I was getting mad at her. She didn't know this, but in my mind, I was getting mad at her for controlling my situation.
Classic. Creating a resentment based on fantasy.
Yeah, I was creating a resentment based on fantasy and feeling like a prisoner with no choices over my own home. I live here alone, like, hello. So I actually did a little bit of a softball thing. I talked to my stepson about it, and he just thought it was a fabulous idea. And I started feeling more and more empowered that I need to do what's right for me. It felt right. I need the help. It's going to work for both of us. And, my stepdaughter, who might be here for a month or two in the summer or has been in the past, or occasionally a weekend or a holiday, I was going to not do something that worked for me because I was so afraid that she would be, so my underlying fear was she would be mad at me and therefore I'd lose family. And, there are a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just ended up praying about it and asking for help. And I told her, and she thought it was a great idea. She loved the person I wanted to rent the room to. she was so excited about it. And, I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like I think I don't know, Sarah, was like 2 months that I had been kind of going over this and contemplating it. And really deep down, it was just my fear of telling my stepdaughter, who, one, doesn't own my house, doesn't pay bills in my house, doesn't live here, like obviously didn't care. Like I created this whole story about how it was going to impact her. And
Yes.
I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And then I started to feel trapped like a prisoner and then resentful.
Yes.
She had no part of it. She didn't even know I was thinking about it, never voiced anything about it. So my experience has been when I walk through the fear and choose
Yeah.
me and say what my needs are and what I want, it's not usually an issue.
No. And it's like, I think so many people can relate to this. This is such a good example because it's having a hard conversation about something where you're projecting someone's going to feel a particular thing, which is codependent behavior. I'm not going to speak up for what I need out of fear of what someone else is going to feel. So this is just such a great example. And very often, like you say, Finn, it just works out.
Right.
And even if someone is upset, it's still about doing what's right for me. And the whole we're prisoners thing came from, which a lot of you are in AA. I remember being in an AA meeting years ago, and I was exhausted from work, and I really just wanted to get home. And I was, and I thought to myself, geez, if I get up right now, people, like, I made up this whole story. People, it's so self-centered, really. People are going to be upset. The speaker's going to feel hurt, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the thought came to me, you are not a prisoner. Like, it's all insane talk in our heads. And when I got up and left, I remember feeling such freedom, like you're saying, just doing what's right for me. And the fact is, very often, nobody else cares.
Right.
Like,
And until my stepdaughter gave her response, I was uncomfortable, but I also did feel free. And, I want to share with everyone, she's never given me any indication she would be upset about it. And she's never done anything but support what's right for me, and has also encouraged me to speak my truth because it makes her feel safe too. So just to point out that this is all made up from my past fears of abandonment and, having people be mad at me and not choosing me because of it. I don't know.
Absolutely. And that's what we talk a lot about on this channel, which is fear and how fear makes our decisions to do our codependent behavior when really the fear is from the past. And lastly, when we talk about people, the words people pleasing very often are part of codependent behavior. And we will definitely talk on another episode around that. Really, it's a delusion. You think you're making someone else happy, but it's really doesn't work out for either of you.
And similarly, you're making up what would please them. Like, I'm thinking my stepdaughter's going to be upset.
Yes.
And it would please her that I wasn't going to rent the room, when technically that was all made up. It was all made up in my head.
Absolutely. And that people pleasing behavior is really about us. It's not about the other person. We make up, oh, the other person needs X, or my son needs X, or I should do this for them. When really it's about, like you said, it's always about tolerating our own discomfort about making different choices. So that's really what we're going to promote today.
Right. And just for a little fun trivia, Sarah, each time we have a video, just watch Finn's drinks. If you don't think Finn's an addict, we want to make sure that it could be like the trivia. What is Finn drinking today? This is what my table looks like in front of me.
Yeah, just to tell people, you already know this, but we are addicts, and we normally have about 10 drinks going. So we know a lot about addiction and codependency. Should we wrap it up, Bud, or talk about another topic?
No, let's wrap it up. Keep it short.
Yes.
Remember, people, choose you. It's best for everybody.
And also, don't let your mind take you out. Remember that if you've been doing a certain behavior for a long time, it's going to tell you, oh, that's going to hurt someone, or I shouldn't do that. And really, it's about starting new behaviors that make you feel better. So that's what we're talking about. Choose you to leave Crazy Town.
And if not right away, when you choose you, it'll not only make you feel better, you'll be surprised at how it's making other people feel better.
Amen. Period at the end.
All right, people, we're out of here.
Out of here.